After 4 straight weeks of battling my heart out on the front lines of comic conventions near and far, and evening the score last weekend at DragonCon, I'm now on the top of Screamer Mountain, located 2 hours outside of Atlanta, visiting my creative partner on YI SOON SHIN, David Anthony Kraft. We have now begun the arduous journey of production on Hunter and Destroyer 2, but my visit wasn't exactly the kind of workshop you would expect. Sure, we discussed plot points and came up with scenes to get things moving, but having worked with DAK for the last decade, one of the things he taught me to believe is that work is only as important as the things you are actually working for. In today's world, we spend so much of our time sacrificing endless hours of our lives in order to be productive members of society. But when chasing your dream, you are living the honest act of balancing your vision while remaining grounded in reality all at the same time. It is important not to let the scales tip too much in one direction or the other. Finding balance is crucial to maintaining a sharp mind and doing your best work. This is why DAK and I are always able to deliver a stellar performance on every issue of YI SOON SHIN that we create together. That being said, if you don't enjoy the work itself becomes tedious and loses its magic. In order to maintain a strong creative front, the fruits of your labor need to provide a certain amount of satisfaction. Today's very special episode of Onward with Onrie isn't about the journey, but where the journey leads. Today, we're going to discuss the spoils of war. One of the hardest aspects of being a comic showman is the amount of time I spend away from my wife and children. It never gets easier. My wonderful wife Halima has been carrying the very heavy burden of managing our children while I'm away at shows for the last 6 years. It's not an easy job, especially with 2 boys. I've missed out on lots of weekends with my kids, sometimes birthdays and other important events. Of course, I do my very best to make up for it when I'm at home, but it still doesn't change the fact that I miss them while I'm away. And it certainly doesn't make things easy for Halima either. For those of you who don't know, my wife is originally from the city of Almaty in Kazakhstan. She left behind her home and her country to start a family with me in America. And while the opportunity and overall quality of life is a vast improvement, it was not a very easy adjustment. My wife moved to the United States in 2013. Back then, I was still trying to find my way on the battlefield of Comic-Con and was traveling a lot. It was rough on both of us. Halima was here by herself with our son and was having a really difficult time getting acclimated to living in the US. To make matters even more difficult, I couldn't pay myself anything because I was fully committed to figuring out the schematics of my business. The fact that I didn't pay myself for such a long time definitely came with its fair share of challenges. But even in the darkest moments, I never stopped seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I forced myself to believe that there had to be an advantageous outcome for all the work I was doing. And who was there with me the whole time? DAK. Whenever I was losing my way, he always made sure that I stayed the course. And if it wasn't for him, neither I nor YI SOON SHIN would be where it is today and where it will be tomorrow. And now that things are going great and new feats have been reached, we have decided to stop and take in the view before continuing with our journey. DAK and I conversed as we traversed Screamer Mountain. We hiked each day of my stay, and on the final evening, he invited over people who are very important to him, and I had the pleasure of co-producing a large feast with their help. We did our fair share of recreating and celebrating. We've also done our fair share of work over the years, as we've continuously battled against all odds to bring YI SOON SHIN to the center stage of the world. And our fight is far from finished. There are still many battles to fight and more victories to claim. So as you can see, my trip to Screamer Mountain was not a workshop, but a celebration with aspects of workshopping. Oh, come on, you didn't think I was going to spoil the next issue of the series on this show, did you? This show is spoiler-free, my friends. But if it's any consolation to you, we still don't even know what the book is going to look like. All I can tell you is that in popular YI tradition, this book is going to deliver. And the spreads you see here are going to knock your damn socks off. So sit tight. We are hard at work to bring the next issue of YI SOON SHIN to you as soon as humanly possible. Now, before I bring this week's episode to a close, I would like to impart you with some wisdom that DAK imparted to me a long time ago. It is just as important to work as it is to enjoy the spoils of that work. So when you have time to share with your family, meaning any people related or not related who you choose to include in your circle, make the very best of it. These moments will keep your life in balance and give you something to keep fighting for. Victory is not just about winning or losing. It's about seeing yourself grow and sharing these wonderful moments with the people who you care about, who will be there to lift you up when things get tough. Victory Seekers, we'll be back, as always, with a brand new episode next week. Until then, press forward with your journey. And when the going gets tough, remember the battle cry that has brought YI SOON SHIN to 100,000 sales and beyond. Onward to victory!